What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. Have you missed me? I missed you guys. So that's been a while since we made videos for the channel, and the reason for that is that we had a longer vacation in Japan. So now we're back and we're doing the videos on wards. So this is the Bushido Championship Series 2004-2005, and it has been an amazing game. With the first tournament that I played was in Portugal, I was able to get first place in Premium. And from that moment on, we just continue on playing and ended up with a 5-2 at Worlds. So we had to play an event of 7 rounds as a Swiss and a top 16, a top 8 sadly, and not a top 16. Which means that if you have a 7-0 or a 6-1, you will go to the top 8. If not, then you will have to be very lucky that your tiebreakers are good and you still get to the top 8. But in most situations with a 5-2, you need to be very, very, very lucky. Well, I was not that lucky, and if you want to know more about that video or about how that went or why did it go that way, then we will have a separate video to talk about that. This video, we will talk about the deck profile, or the deck itself. So when it comes to the Sparkborder Premium deck, we have talked about this a lot. This is a deck that we have done a video on the channel so many times, and still we haven't scratched the surface. When it comes to this deck, there is a lot to talk about, and there are a lot of people, even YouTubers, that think that the deck is very easy to play. While I was there, I've heard people talk a lot about, yo, D-boy, no offense, but yeah, your deck is just, it just pilots itself. Every card draw your card, and I don't know, I was myself, I didn't answer to it too much. I was sick of it, but it did make me a little bit sick to my bone that people think that the deck is easy to play or you can just pick it up and play. Of course you can, and you could be lucky, but in most situations you will get your butt kicked because you don't know what you're doing. You'll be blaming the deck. You can only blame yourself. While playing this deck, if you lose, you can blame yourself, or sometimes you're very, very, very unlucky. That happens as well. But in the most situations, it's your own fault. For not reading the match correctly, for taking a bad decision, and for losing. And you'll be like, D-boy, so you lost twice, so is it twice your fault? Well, if you want to know more about that, you should watch the other video. So I'm preparing the deck for you guys. I will make it back the way it was while playing Words, and I will show you the card changes that I will make while playing this deck to make the deck stronger, more playable. There are a few things, few pointers that I could show you guys, and we will do that all in this video. So when we talk about this deck, right? So when we talk about this deck, there are a few things that come in mind. One of the important things is that the deck is very consistent, and the deck could actually do a lot of crazy things. It could rush, and it could kill earlier if you wanted to, but it's more or less designed to kill on a GBA turn. And doing so, you'll have to survive to get to your GBA turn. And when you get to the GBA turn, there are a few things that you also still have to keep in mind. So there is no easy way. There is no cheap shots. There is no triple crit your opponent and win. Those things do not exist in this deck. This deck is all about skills. This deck is all about playing the right cards and playing the best of your abilities to get the most out of the deck. So yeah, like we have talked about this in the past a lot when it comes to this deck, and till this moment, there are a few people that pick the deck up and try to play it. I'm not discouraging you. You should do it. It's a lot of fun to play, but it's a very unique and strange playstyle. You do need to submit to the clan. You need to love the clan. If you don't like Spike Brothers, or you're new to Spike Brothers, or you just wanted to pick the deck up and play it in big tournaments and try to find results, this is not the deck or the clan for you, or the video for you. So I'm sorry for that, but I'm not trying to have less viewers, definitely not, but I'm just telling you the truth. If you are here to just know more about the deck, you're very welcome to stay and watch. That I keep saying, this is a clan for diehard people that make it work in every format. Now, before we jump into deck profile, what tier is this deck, and what is this deck called? Well, first of all, the deck is not called Turbo GB8. Not this deck, not my deck. This deck is called a control tempo deck. It's a control tempo deck because you could kill on every stride, and you could kick your opponent at high damage, and you could stay low. It's pretty much up to you. You could do different things. But the most important thing is that it's up to you to control the base of the game. You want to go slow, you want to go fast, you want your opponent at high damage, at low damage, you want yourself to stay at high damage or low damage. There are a lot of things that you could do when it comes to this deck. Alright, now the second thing, the tier. What tier is this deck? This deck is tier God. This deck is tier 0. It's always have been, always will be. There is no format, there is no meta, there is nothing that could take this deck out of tier God, tier 0. What tier do you want to put it on your tier charts? None. You should not even bother, because this deck is always up to the pilot that's piloting the deck. The deck tier itself, if played perfectly, it will always win every single game. But it depends on the pilot that's piloting the deck. The passion, the connection to the clan, the knowledge of the game, the knowledge of the matchups, and the luck that he's having in that game.
Welcome to Crushing the Meta.
And now the deck profile. So we'll move this beautiful promo out of the way, and we'll jump into the deck profile. So we will do our classic fast deck profile, but through this deck profile I will also talk about the skills right away. I will not explain them too much, I will not be reading them literally, but I will talk about them. So first, for your grade 3 lineup, you have 3 different versions of Rising. These are the same version, but just a different art. The original SP and the new alternative art, or newer alternative art, and then the 2 copies of the V Rising, 2 Jiggies, 1 Skydiver, and 4 copies of Jelly Beans. Alright, so this is basically how your lineup look like. What are the things that we need to talk about while addressing this lineup? Well, there are a lot of things that we could talk about while addressing this lineup. We'll talk first a little bit more about their skills, and we'll talk also like about what could you do, what could you take out, what could you put in, which cards are important. But before we do that, we'll first go fast through the deck, and then we'll come back and explain it, because some of you guys are here to just know what the deck looks like. Alright, so 4 Jelly Beans, important, the 1 copy of Skydiver, the 2 Jiggies, and the 4 Rising being 2 on 2. Alright, the grade 2s. The grade 2s are flexible, but some of them are very important. The 4 copies of Breach Spruits, the 3 copies of the Demonic Lady, 1 copy of Pecan, 1 Spike Bouncer, and 1 Devil Dome. The Black Devil Dome? What the fuck is a Devil Dome? We'll talk about that in a minute. For the grade 1s, we have the 4 or 3 copies of the Havoc, so the new grade 1 promo, which wasn't included in the deck that I won Portugal with. 3 copies of Tyr, 2 copies of Honolulu, 1 copy of Laruk, and 1 very important copy of Acrobat Verdi. grade zeros or triggers. We have the 4 heals, of course the Dudley heals. We have the 4 SP Lyra Lip, a draw and a crit. We have the 4 D draws with the skills. We have the 3 PG draws, and we have 1 purple OT. Starter being Mega Trainer, of course. The Regalia piece being, of course, Angel Ladder. I think that's self-explanatory. And the 1 Elementaria. For the strides, we'll show you them right away as well, because why not? We'll start with the card that gives you an edge if you go first, of course, which is the 2 copies of the original Bruce, Flash Bruce. Then we have 2 copies of the GB8s. It's good to have a second copy in there. We have the 2 copies of the Violence Ace. We have a 1 copy of Galley, a 1 copy of Marindal, and of course 1 Messiah. For the G-Guards, the 3 copy of Lioness, the SP, 1 copy of Hegatone Gus, 1 copy of Evita, Queen herself, 1 copy of Regatone, and 1 copy of Desmil. So this is basically the whole deck. Of course, you have your force markers. This is basically the deck. So yeah, if you don't know what this is the Guardian Shield. That is also your name card when you enter wards. So that's very, very, very unique that we have got these. All right, so now we come back, talk a little bit about the deck, and talk also about how you could change the deck around. All right, so first of all, for your orders, I don't think that we need to explain these. I think it is very, very, very self-explanatory. The Angel Ladder is a card that gives you a safer GB8 turn. It's also a card that you could just discard to stride with, or to use as a grade 3 to show off your Verdi. Like, yeah, it's easy to use cards. Always you could put it just into your soul draw card. So it's never a dead card. It's always usable. The only downside to this is if it's the only grade 3 you have in your hand and there is no way to get Verdi to your hand, or whatever, because you can guard with it, you can play it, you can do anything with it. You have to discard it with a PG to be able to G assist. If it's in your hand and there's no other grade 3 in your hand, then you're pretty much because yeah, you know, like what the hell could you do? Next is the Elementaria. Of course, it's very simple. It's one of the cards that is very important in this certain format. It helps you to play around certain strategies that your opponent could just put out there. So it's a good card to have in your deck, and I think like this is a one-off in every deck. Now we go to the triggers. The purple OT, you could play another OT, yes. You could play blue. You could play the Dark State OT. You could play yellow even to get more draws and a little bit of retirement power. Actually, yellow is not a bad OT in this current meta, I guess. It gives you a little bit of retirement, actually a lot of retirement, which is good against Nova Grapplers. And yeah, beside that, it's a card that draw you cards. With purple OT, it's different. Purple OT could extend combos even during your GBA turn. If you have lost one of your attackers and purple OT is out there, he could still help you. He could help you to get a card from the damage zone back to your hand, a card that you lost. And you could even still call something from your hand and put more pressure on your opponent and draw more. So it's, or even counter charge. It's a card that does open up different possibilities. Of course, you never know when you will get it, but it does help in some situations. Actually, in a lot of situations. Now, everything else I would say is very self-explanatory. Like the PGs, the D draws, the crit draws, and the heals. I don't think that I need to explain any of this. I think this is the only good way to play the deck. I don't know. Of course, you could not agree with me on this. It's pretty much up to you. But yeah, in my opinion, this is the only way to play the deck. The starter, it's Mega Trainer. Mega Trainer give you Verdi, Mega Trainer give you Heal, Mega Trainer give you the promo, Havoc. Mega Trainer could give you whatever you like, a tier, Lerouk, whatever. So yeah, my opinion, it's a must to play this starter. If you want to play something else, up to you. But for me, I think the Mega Trainer is the best choice. For the great ones, the one Verdi, the one Lerouk. We'll talk about these in a minute. I'll leave them right here. We have the 2 copies of Honolulu, the 3 copies of Tier, and the 3 copies of Havoc. Now, from this moment on, we will talk also about other options that you want to add to the deck. So first of all, the Verdi. What does the Verdi do? You could discard him to stride, he counts as a grade 3, but you could also call him to the field, show a grade 3 from your hand to your opponent, and you add E Rising Nova to your hand. E Exceptional Expertise Rising Nova, which means you still have the option to choose between the V Nova or the G Nova, which means that if you go first, he could help you to get the G Nova to your hand on a consistent way. There are some situations where it could be irritating if this is the only grade 1 you have in your hand and you have to ride into it. Then of course you would love to have a second copy in your deck to search it to your hand and still use it, but then you don't. So yeah, you could add a second copy if you want to. The card that you could take out from this lineup, from my experience, is the 1 copy of Tier. 2 tiers are enough in this current format. There are not many decks out there that will spam the Honolus like Neo Nectar did in the past, so it's safe to take out a tier, and that's why it's also in a different sleeve, because I already took it out. So I will leave it right here, and we'll talk later about other options that you could add to the deck. But one of the options could be another extra copy of Acrobat Verdi. Lerouk, do you need more? Yes and no. It's always good to have more. He's always good in the early game. He does a lot of work against certain clans to stay at low damage, especially clans that could stride first or have a big first turn and you're still not on your grade 3s, which means that your G guards are not active yet, which are your biggest shields. So he himself will be a good card to guard. Now that's also a card that you could add to your hand if you want to add more shield to your hand with your Mega Trainer. So we will leave the 1 copy in here. I like it. I sometimes search to the hand. Against certain matchups, he could be effective. The 2 copies of Honolulu, I do like it. I don't think I will take them out. I feel like 2 are more than enough. They're good for the combo. They're good for Galley Call. They're good to search for Mega Trainer. I mean, it's fine if you lose one in the damage zone or you move it with the G assist or whatever. It's still good, still fine. Something very important about Honolulu, because it's got the Nirata, it is a 10k shield, which does matter in this deck a lot, so keep that in mind. The 2 copies of Tier, you can't play less than 2, that would be strange, but that 3 is over the top in my opinion in this current meta. So I feel like 2 are perfect. I still play him, the 2 on 2 is fine. Then we have Havoc. Also something about the tier is not about only the counter charging, it's also about the soul blasting. You need cards in this deck that could just soul blast to continue on the combo, so that's why he's important. The Havoc, 3 copies or 4, it is the card that is the easiest to add to 4 by taking out the extra copy of Tier. Why? Because he's just a good shield. He's good as a G-Guard, he's good as a right target, he is good in a lot of different situations. Even if you don't use him as a G-Guard, he is good as just shield value, because by removing a heal, this boy could be a big shield. He could be a 30k shield, even a 35k shield if you wanted to, which is a lot. So yeah, but also He's one of the cards that return cards back to your deck. So you keep soul blasting your cards, and he's the one that put them back, which is also very, 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 very important. So yeah, that's another reason to play him. If you ask me what should the deck look like, as in the Great One lineup, I would say it should look like this. The 4 Havoc, is it pushing it? Yeah, maybe. Take it out to play an extra copy of Verdi if you want to. It's pretty much up to you. You could also just take out Larouk and play another Havoc, and you play it just like this, the 2-2-2-4. That would work as well. Like, it's pretty much up to you to play it to the way you like. I have a lot of games where I feel like if I go first, my opponent doesn't want to give me the damage because they be like, I don't want you to use that Mega Trainer to search up the Verdi. So I do see myself taking out the Larouk to play an extra copy of Acrobat Verdi. Also, the format isn't that rush reliant anymore, I feel like. So again, another reason to take out the Larouk to play an extra copy of Verdi. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I do like the one-on-one for now, but it feels like I've been having a lot of situations where I ride into the Verdi for some reason. So yeah, maybe I'll take out the Larouk to play the Verdi. All right. What is next? The Great Twos. So your Great Twos are basically your attackers. They are the cards that make the combo, and they're cards that make your opponent crazy. The 50, 50, 50, 50, 52 crit. 52 crit is just a number that your opponent hates for the rest of their life. They hate the number 50, they hate the number 40, they hate the number 60. And it's understandable, but yeah. we don't feel sorry for anybody because we play spikes. All right, 4 copies of Breach Spurts. This is a card that is very good. It plays around certain matchups, as in you let them intercept, but it's all about him being able to recycle himself and her being able to soul blast him. And with these two, you could create a mini loop. It's not an infinite loop or whatever. It's also a loop that has holes in it. It's something that you need to play well to be able to make this deck work. But basically, the strategy was created by me. There is nobody else that created it and nobody else that actually gave it thought. But the strategy is actually very simple. You need to create 2 columns, and in case you create 2 columns, there is no way that you could draw into the right card that you want to call, because that is what we had in the past. It's like sometimes you draw into the right cards, which means that you don't have them in your deck anymore, and then your loop just stops or your combo just ends, and then you will be running out empty. But with these two, it's very simple. It's actually very effective. You have a column where you have your markers on it sitting on one side, and you have another column, you have this in here. You attack with this as much as you can, putting all the spruits in your soul. Then he goes back to your, so you call a new one and it's still in attacking position. And then you draw a card out of the last one. If you don't follow this, it's fine. I'll do a separate combo video. But I did have it in the past and I've done it a lot. So your Vanguard is chilling right here, being most of the time, of course, your GB8. Otherwise, there's no combo. So your GB8 chilling right here on the top of a Rising or whatever. Then she attacks, soul blasting the 3 copies of him. And then she goes into your soul, and then you call a new one out of your deck. Now you have these 3 in your soul. You could continue on attacking with him, and then end up with him being in attacking position and these in your soul again. Because every time you attack into this goes to the bottom of your deck, and then him and a card from your hand go into your soul. You call this, and then you draw a card, and these are in your drop zone or in your soul, which means there is no way to draw into them. And that's basically how the combo came to exist, because I did practice this deck a lot until I came up with this combo. And that's why when people pick this deck up and try to play it and then lose with it and then say the deck is weak or it's this or it's that, or even say the deck is easy to play, of course the deck is now easier to play because I pretty much perfected a deck list, and you guys, or people, not you are Spike Brother fans. You're Spike Brother to the bone. But people that don't know Spikes or just want to win or don't have any connection to the clan, they'll be like, no, I don't know. I don't know about this deck. Well, of course you don't know. You shouldn't pick the deck up to start with. But hey, let's leave that. So that's why they are in here. So the 4 breach are very, very important. If you lose 1 in damage, you try to get it back with healing. If you lose 2, then the combo will become very slow. But if you lose 1, it's still fine. Now we have the 3 copies of the Demonic Lady. You could play more, you could play 4, but I don't think it's necessary. I would rather play one-offs that could help you to get out of some strangely sticky situations. So that's why we play only 3. 3 on 4 is a good number. I do not want to change it. Now we have Beacon is a good card to play around certain cards that your opponent has on the field, like a Honely, like something that keep giving them power or whatever. It's a very flexible card. It doesn't target. It's one of the best in the game, and it's suitable for this deck because this deck loves Crane Elementals. Then we play 1 copy of Spike Bouncer. This card is iffy. I could take it out, I could put it in. There are other options that you could add to the deck. There are a lot of options that you could add to the deck. But the one that comes to mind the most is, of course, Robert. Robert is good because he helps you to get an extra attack out there if you want to go for a galley kill turn. And Robert is also good in the early game to discard to get a grade 1 or grade 2 to your hand, to get the right cards to your hand. It's a very, very, very good card. But is it necessary in the deck? Not really, because now we have more G-Guard enablers. So that's why I don't think it's necessary. I would rather still play the Spike Monster. Well, what does Spike Monster do and why is it so good? Spike Monster on call, so when you call it, or you ride into it, so when it's placed. A Counter Blast and a Soul Blast. The Soul Blast is very, very good. The Counter Blast is fine, except sometimes in the early game. You have to be smart about using it. You look at the top cards of your deck the same as your grade. So if you ride into it, you took out the top 2. If you have a grade 4, as in you have a stride, you took out the top 4. And then you call one of it, and the rest goes to the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, putting cards in the bottom of your deck in any order is always good because you could set up your OT or whatever as a defensive turn. Also, this guy could call to a rearguard circle and not an open rearguard circle, which plays around certain matchups that could rest a card in the front row. It's another card that could call, so if your opponent got rid of your 2 attackers or one of your attackers, this could create you the second column again. So there are a lot of good things about Spike Bouncer. The second ability of Spike Bouncer is very effective as well. For a Counter Blast of 1, at the end of the battle he attacks as a rearguard, you could put him into your soul and you draw a card. It's very different from this. This is not a cost putting him into the soul. This is a cost putting him into the soul, so you could not combine him with the GB8 turn. With the GB8 skill, I mean. Now we have Devil Dome. Devil Dome is in here because some people keep getting triggers and then their Vanguard will be too strong to hit, or they play the Watermelon Order. The Watermelon Order is a card that is good against these kind of decks that could attack 30 plus times. And the Devil Dome could be like, sure, your Vanguard is 40 whatever, I could hit 92 easily. Easily. What do you mean, D-Boy? Well, most of the time you have 3 markers. 2 created from going first and 1 created with your Rising Nova, as in the V. So you go G, then you go V, then you have 3 force 1s. Then you have the skill of the GB8, so that's 40k, right? 40 easy, 40k easy. Now 40k with his ability or his normal attack is 46. Then he goes his ability. Soul Blast 1, double his attack. 46, so the 40 becomes 80, the 6 becomes 12, that's 92, boy. 92, remember it, remember it. So again, you want to play the Watermelon Order? Go ahead, have fun, enjoy. I still could hit above that multiple times if I want to. So yeah, sure. Play your Waterman order. All right, now the grade threes. The grade threes are basically your leaders, your fullbacks, your um, captains. You can call them different things, but it all comes to the same. So, what is the time? What is the lineup, and how could you change it? And was it good? Was it not good? Which cards came in clutch and which did not? First of all, your risings. 2-1-2 is perfect. You don't want to play less. You do want to see this guy and you want to see this guy. You want to see them both and you want to see them at the right timing. Then comes maximum. Maximum, again, the same thing. You want to see him and you want to see him at the right timing. Do you see him at the right timing? Yes. If you call for him, he will be there. Because this guy never leave you in the dust. But he does leave your opponent in the dust. Why is this guy so good? It's because of his defensive ability. Everything that you put in a Guardian Circle, get the extra 5k. I mean, you're crazy. Did you know how much shield this guy could get you out of 13 or 14 cards in hand? Like, it's insane. Then we have the Skydiver. The Skydiver is a iffy card. It's the same as the Spike Bouncer. You could be in and out. If you take him out, what could you play? I don't know for now. It could be an extra copy of Maximum. I would actually rather have an extra copy of this or this, but yeah, how could we create that? I'm just not sure, actually. The reason why Skydiver is in there is it's a card that could return cards from the drop zone back to the deck, which means he could reset your combo with tier. Tier and a Skydiver means like what? 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 attacks. It's losing 2 cards from your hand and using the Skydiver and tier could create you 9 new attacks. So yeah, that's insane. Actually 10 attacks if you count the other side as well. So yeah, that's insane. So that's why the Skydiver is in here. He's also a card that becomes strong, so he could hit high numbers, which makes him even more important. But you could take him out to play something else. Again, I'm not sure what I could put in here, because the thing is with Skydiver, it's like the extra. Like, you could create like 24 attacks with this deck easily. You could go to 32, and if you want to go to like 40 something, then you need to loop cards like Skydiver, and with that, you need more cards in hand and you need to have returned a lot of cards back to your deck. But I mean, what deck could survive a 24 attack? Do we really need the Skydiver is the question. And I think, to be honest, maybe no. So the Skydiver could become an extra copy of Juggernaut Maximum, and then you will play it like this. You could take him out to play an extra copy of Acrobat Verdi or something else, like something else, not a grade 3. And then you will be like 4... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 grade 3s, that's fine as well. You could play an extra grade 2 or an extra grade 1. You could play a Robert if you want to. Up to you. For now, I am really not sure. I have to jump into my binders and look at the grade 3s that still give a force marker but could be effective in this deck. It's something that you want to ride into. It needs to be something that you want to ride into. This is always your first ride target, and these are the ones that give you markers. So maybe the best option is another copy of Maximum. I think that's the most logical way. But for now, I will just leave it as it is because he sometimes still come in handy, but I don't think it's necessary to have him in the deck. We will see. Alright, so beside the Skydiver that may become a Juggernaut Maximum, what about the Jelly Beans? The Jelly Beans I will leave at 4. I love this guy and he's very, very, very good. The ability for him to go back to your deck is very, very, very effective because it means you could draw him back and you could use him again. Or it could also mean you could draw him back and you could use him to stride. and then you have a grade 3 in your drop zone, which you will also put back with your Havoc, with your Evita, and with that, again, you are having grade 3s in your drop zone and in your deck, and your drop zone in your deck, and that's good. That's how the deck works. You want to keep drawing into them. So I will not take them out. Even with 4 Havoc, I'll still leave the 4 Jelly Beans in there. I feel like it's very good as it is. Did I G-assist during the tournament? Yes, I did G-assist once, and I've been having that problem since then. Sometimes it's very strange. I haven't had the problem while testing the deck before. Maybe Robert did help a little bit, but it could, most of the time it was just a grade 2. But yeah, maybe I'll change the deck a little bit around. I mean, I have a flexibility with the Skydiver. That's it. That's the only flexible card. But we will see. We still have time until the first tournament that I'll be playing, which is the one in Germany. So I think few changes will be done to the deck, just to also have a little bit of a different deck. I don't want to keep playing the same deck the whole time. So yeah. Alright, what's next? We still have the strides to talk about. So the G-Guards in general. You have one Dismill and you have Reggaeton. Reggaeton is a card that you actually don't really use that much anymore. And you could take it out to play something else. Another G-Guard that is a Crane Elemental. You have a few options. You have the one that's the Fire Water one. Still, I think I have him right here. Yeah, I do have him right here, chilling somewhere. Well, I don't know where he is, but you guys know which card I mean, I think. You should know. Shouldn't you? Yeah, you should know. So you could play different ones. I still like to play the Reggaeton, more or less for the arts and for it being borderless, I guess. They're brothers. They have been here in the deck for a very long time, and I like to keep them together. There are some situations where you still would like to play this just to discard a card and draw a card, and then you combine it with cards like Evita to put the card that you just discarded back to your deck. Yeah, that could help in some situations, but it doesn't really come up that often. But I like to have that flexibility in the deck, so that's good. Talking about Evita, I've been thinking a lot about putting a second copy of her before the tournament and in the last meta or format or season. I don't feel that anymore. I like the one copy of her, and then you just need to play her smartly. Why? Because now you do not remove your heal triggers all the time to counter charge. In some situations, you just leave your heals in the drop zone to be able to remove them with your Havoc to use it as a normal shield. Next you have one Hegaton Gus. He is very important as he's the only card in the deck that could return triggers or orders back to your deck, which is important because they do normal units, Havoc does normal units, and your Sprute does normal units. The 3 copy of Lioness, 2 are enough, 3 is perfect. In some situations you will feel like you need a third one, then just use it. The funny thing is that while playing this deck, you could actually now G-Guard way more because of having the Havoc. So let's say for some example, you have played this as a first G-Guard while you already have your Bruce face up. You could still like play the 3 copies of this with him and remove these because you have a lot of cards to discard. Even if you have had another G-Guard like in the deck, like an 8th one, you could still play it, or even a 9th, or even a 10th, because you could discard 8 cards to use your G-Guard. So if you have like 6 in your hand, you could do them right away, because it's all count about cards that you have in your G-Zone face up. They do not count cards that you have in your Guardian Circle. So It's crazy, and we never thought about that before, but now, like with the amount of G cards that we could play, it is possible. It's crazy. Like it's who does that? But this deck could. For your strides, we play one Messiah. Everybody plays one Messiah. It's a very, very, very good card in the deck, especially shooting yourself the one damage. Sometimes you just keep on guarding. You don't want your opponent to hit you because you want to use your shield, and then still hit yourself with one extra damage to draw in your turn. So that's something that's very, very strange, but it does work. So yeah, you could do that. Next is the one Marindol. It didn't come up that much in the tournament, but I still think that it has a lot of potential in certain matchups, especially in the tops. So yeah, you do need to play the Marindol, especially because this deck could not shoot itself a damage. Playing this with this is good because he could flip him up and you still have the GB2. You could also just ride into this if you want to. The one Galley is good. Galley give you the ability to rush. Galley give you the ability to defend with cards like Homily. And you could use his skill attacking into a rear guard. So that's important. The Soul Blast is nice as well. The 2 copies of the Violence Ace. He's one of the instruments that created the insane power of this deck. The draw engine that this deck has is insane, and he's of course one of the reasons for that. Also, the ability to Soul Blast is very, very, very important because you want cards out of your soul into the drop zone and from your drop zone back to your deck. So that's why his ability to Soul Blast is actually quite good. The 2 copies of the GB8s, I haven't used the second one for a very, very, very long time. People nowadays, when they see the first one, because they know the deck more, they know they lost, and if their OT is out, then they lost. So sometimes even you don't have to play your GB8 turn out. They know when he hits the mats that's it. That's it. This is the strongest card, as the strongest stride in the game. And maybe the strongest card in the game. But the good thing about this card is that he does nothing alone. He does it as a team. He doesn't do anything himself, actually. And when people say, like, this card should be banned, this card is no blah, 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 I think, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, do you have any understanding on how this deck works? I mean, banning this card, sure, yeah, okay. But you still have other options that you can add to the deck. Like, you could still build the deck differently. But it's not about this card. It's about a combination of cards that you play, drawing the cards in the right time, and playing the deck the right way. So if you're telling me, like, you should ban this or ban that or do this or do that, okay. Which tops? What are the tops? What are we talking about? Did this deck dominate the format like Neo Nectar did? Did this deck dominate the format like Grand Blue did? Did this deck dominate a format like Mega Colony did? Like Time Leap did back in the days? No, it did not. And why? It's not because the deck is not strong. The deck is insanely strong. As I said, tier 0 all the way. It's because of the players. Nobody committed their time and effort into understanding and playtesting this deck. You're not telling me like somebody just picking the deck up and they could play it as good as I could or as you guys could, because I know that there are so many good Spike Ridders out there like you guys that want to play this deck and want to dominate the format with. Yes, of course, but not everybody could do that. So they could not do what we could, and our tops are still minimum because we are a small group. But then again, this deck in the last season, it had 4 tops. It had one top 16 in the US by a very good friend of mine. It had 2 top 16s in the UK. All of those 3 tops got knocked out of the top 16. Some of them unlucky, some of them that it went as it went. And the last top is my win from Portugal, which was even before the Havoc promo in a very, very strange meta. But as I said, it doesn't matter what meta you throw this deck into. It could still do good. Last but not least, we have the 2 Flash Bruce. Godly Speed Flash Bruce is the Rising Stride. He's the original Bruce. and he is the Zazan of the deck. He's the one that gives you the GB if you go first, and which makes this deck insanely strong. So yeah, that's basically it. That's the whole deck. Changes, I've already explained the changes, what you could change about the deck to make it even stronger. Anything else? Yes. If you want to play this deck, let me know. I could always help you out to pick the deck up, to search for the right cards, to make the deck a little bit more to your liking. Remember guys that this deck is built for me, so it's built around my playstyle. If you guys want to play the deck, you could build it, but you will come to the conclusion that you have to build it a little bit differently, which is fine. It's all good. That's the nice thing about this this format. There are a few other cards that you could add to the deck, and some of them we could talk about, and some of them I don't think it's that necessary. One of the hidden gems that you could add to your deck, especially if you don't have the money to buy the Demonic Lady, is this new Steam Fighter. This card, by Soul Blasting 3, he gets an extra 15, which makes him a very good attacker, but also a very good combo extender, as in he does the Soul Blast. In some situations, he's even better than the Queen because he doesn't draw you cards, and sometimes you don't want to draw cards, you just want to do Soul Blasting. So that's why this guy could be very, very, very effective, and one of the cards, as I said, a hidden gem to play. Another card we've already talked about is of course Robert. Robert is a card that you could add to the deck and could be very, 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 very helpful. Beside these two, I don't think there's much you want to add to the deck. Yeah, the Tears, the Honolis, the Larooks, you just need to find the right balance, and everything else I think should be self-explanatory. I don't think that we need to explain more. Alright guys, thank you for watching, thank you for tuning in on our channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the video, and I know these videos could be too long, but there's just too much to talk about. We will have a different video when we talk about the tournaments, how the tournament went, and we have a video to talk about the matchups as well. There is a lot to talk about, but I don't know, it feels for me a little bit strange to talk about this particular words. It's not I'm not hyped to tell you my experience and how everything went. It's like I'm on one side I don't want to say disappointed. I'm actually disappointed in the way that people looked at Spike as being a tier deck, as being a meta. I don't know about that. Since the ban list and somebody put a tier list out there and Spark Brothers and Grand Blue were tier 1, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Spark Brothers being a tier 1 deck, okay, in which player's hand it's a tier 1 deck? Because that's the thing that I want to see. I really want to see even good players pick the deck up and play it and get good results with it. I want to see that, and I want to see people taking this deck and going into top 8s and playing against good players and still doing good with the deck. I want to see that too. Until then, don't tell me that this deck is a tier 1 deck, except in the right hands. Then it's a tier 0 deck. So don't don't think that that's the way. So that's the thing that kept me, or let me push the brakes. I don't know how to say it, but that's one of the things that I was like, I don't know if I agree with this, but yeah, it is what it is, and people will talk and say what they think, and of course it's not up to us to tell them otherwise, so they should do what they want. For me, still the deck is insanely good. If played right, you do need to put time and effort into learning your combos, learning what cards you get to the hand, and learning how to play against different matchups. All in all, I love the deck and I love talking to you guys. So for that, this will be the end of the video. This is the G card that I was talking about. This is a card that you can add to the deck if you take Reggaeton out. Again, so many cards that you could add to the deck. But this is a hidden weapon. You know about it now, but sooner or later you would have seen it on the deck list. So yeah. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. So till next time.
Rising